Okay, the next part of the video, or should I say the next topic, is gonna be called diet for gaining muscle and mass. Basically the muscle mass and to stay a little bit toned, or to stay toned should I say, to some extent. But as I get to the next month, my diet is going to change a little bit. Now a lot of people are going to be wondering why I'm lying down like this. I'm lying down like this simply because I'm in pain. That's why I'm lying down like this. I'm gonna eat something in a little while. I shouldn't be eating necessarily this late, but I need to eat again. Otherwise, if I don't eat now, I'll wake up probably at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'll just be so hungry. Now, when you're trying to gain mass, but good mass, I've heard a lot of people say, I'm going to eat a lot of fatty foods, then I'm going to work out in the gym so much and gain so much muscle and tone up. Listen, shut your mouth. You shut your mouth, right? Because a lot of those people that are saying that, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Because you don't see any bodybuilder or anyone like that doing any of that stuff. And half the time they don't even do any training or exercise anyway. It's just all a fantasy. Now, if you want to gain healthy mass, what you do is, for me, I do it 4 times a day generally. Meaning that I eat 4 meals a day, and what I have as well generally after training is a protein shake. Now, I know you're thinking, protein shake, is he buying the whey, etc.? No, I'm not buying whey. What I do is I mix eggs. I have roughly around 4 average size eggs. I generally don't have the yolks with it, so I have just the egg whites. 1/4 or 1/5 of a cup of milk and banana, and sometimes I put in raw oats and mix it together with a bit of cinnamon and vanilla. Now, the purpose for that is, when you're training hard and stuff like that, you get little tears in your muscle. Now, the meals, 4 meals and stuff is good for you, but what you want as well, you want also the raw protein, so that hits the muscle straight away, so it helps to repair the muscle very quickly. There's things like amino acids, creatine, etc. I don't take them. I've considered taking them. I'm going to do more research on that. I'm going to maybe possibly do it step by step, so that it might help me to train 4 or 5 times a week. And in the sense of 4 times a week, I mean like 2.5 to 3 hours each time. And then maybe the 5th time a week, I'll be training an hour to an hour and a half. Right now, I do about 3 times a week generally, sometimes 4 times. And the 4th time, I might only do an hour and a half. So in your diet now, you're going to want to have high protein, high carbs, but also don't miss out your veg or fruits. Now, I don't go that heavy on the fruits and the veg, but generally I'd still try to have 2 portions of fruit or veg per day. So a lot of times I have generally broccoli and cauliflower. What I have started doing sometimes though is I might have a separate side dish where I have like about 3 or 4 pieces of broccoli, 3 or 4 pieces of cauliflower. So that's a good amount for 1 portion. Then the second meal, I might have that. The third meal, I might just have an apple or something like that. Now the banana, I have that generally with the protein shake. So if you do that, you can't go wrong. Now, the way how you can generally break down having the 4 meals a day is you wake up in the morning, say if you wake up 7:30, 8 o'clock, then you eat breakfast by about 8 o'clock, latest 8:30. If it's a bit later, 9 o'clock, then by about 12:30 or 1, or earliest 12 o'clock, you'll eat lunch. Now, lunch should be the meal with the biggest amount of carbs. You should have a bit of veg with it. Then what you're going to do is around 4 o'clock, 4:30 or 5, you're going to have your dinner. And what you're going to do now is you're going to take out maybe around 1/5 of the carbs. You might top it up with just a bit more veg or the same amount of veg. You're going to have a high amount of protein, so around 3 pieces of chicken. If the pieces of chicken are very big, maybe you can just go for 2. I wouldn't advise to eat red meat too much. Only once or twice a week you need to eat red meat. And what you do, depending on the time that you're training, I would say leave about an hour and a half from when you eat your meal to 2 hours to train. Me, I'm lucky that I can do it in about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. And I really mean an hour. And I can actually do a good, cardio session, like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And then go into the weights and things like that, or pull-ups and press-ups. So if you're just beginning in the gym, especially if you're a man, I'd say start off about 1.5 hours, maximum 2 hours. And as you're going more intense, go up to 2.5 hours. Now, it's not every time that you're in the gym you need to do 2 hours, 2.5 hours, or 3 hours. Sometimes you can do an hour and a half, but you might take less breaks. It depends on what you're doing in the gym. After you have the meal at 4:35, the latest you should eat again is 8:39, latest 9:30. And then possibly around an hour later, you take your protein shake. Why do you take your protein shake an hour later? So that the food that you've eaten, it starts to settle in your belly a little bit. But because you've just trained, your body needs the fuel. So what happens is when you have the protein shake, and me, what I do is I have the eggs and milk. What happens is basically, as you're sleeping, if you haven't got certain protein and certain nutrients within your body starts to actually starve. Now, when your body starts to starve, what you'll find is you won't necessarily be gaining weight. And in some severe cases, you can actually be losing weight or losing strength. And it's starving your body. So that's why I advise to do that. That's generally how you take in around 4 meals in a day. Sometimes there will be times when you'll just be so hungry. So say you fall asleep by about, say about 11:30, 12, somewhere around that time. Then sometimes you may even wake up in the night and just want to eat again. Now, if you wake up in the night and you need to eat again, I advise you try your hardest not to take really any carbs per se. So that means no rice, no pasta, no noodles. What you could cook is something like, say you have about 5 or 6 eggs, and you take 3 or 4 of the yolks out of the eggs, and maybe you might have maximum 2 yolks in your eggs. If you can't manage 6 eggs, you might just do 4 with 2 or 3 yolks taken out. And then you just repeat that cycle. Now, you're not going to repeat the cycle every single day. So on the days that you're not training, you don't necessarily always need to take the protein shake. If you do feel that you're in severe pain, you can lessen the protein shake to 2 eggs with no yolk, or 1 egg with yolk, 1 egg with no yolk. Also, for me now, because I'm a Sabbath keeper, what I generally do is the day that I have rest, I don't eat full meals. There's odd times when I've fasted, or there's times that I just eat like 2 meals in that day, or 2.5 meals. But you don't want to be eating 4 or 5 meals per day, 7 days a week. Your body needs to, your digestion system is doing too much work. So you need a day where you're going to rest and you don't eat so much. But that's a way that's going to help you to bulk in terms of your diet. So you're going to get very good muscle mass. Now, there's a thing known as carb cycling. I haven't necessarily tried that myself, so I'm not going to advise you to do that. But this way, stick with this way for, at least if you're going to stick with it for like 2, 3, 4 months, and then see if there's any differences.